Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. So today I am going to be sharing some very specific messages for certain individuals who may come across this video. And there's been a lot coming up the last couple days. I know that I did a pretty deep and specific channeling in the last reading video, and many of you were connecting with that. And I also have been reading through many comments underneath that video. And one of you, by the way, I know my voice is still going to be cracking a little bit here and there. I would say, mostly recovered, like 90% from being under the weather, but not all the way yet. So that's the reason for that. But there was one comment that I really wanted to address in a video. And the reason this comment stood out to me is because I feel it speaks to a question that many of you had when you were listening to that reading. So that reading may be helpful for context, but also I'm getting that for some of you, you may not even need the context. So what I mean is maybe this video is the message that you need, and you don't even need that like previous context in that full video. But just to kind of make sense of this, I do want to briefly share that what I'm going to be describing here, and we'll see where it goes from here. I just really felt guided to use this as sort of like a starting point for the reading, and we will see how it continues to unfold. But in that reading, we talked about how you transferred some kind of a gift to someone. I was calling it a gift that was very energetic, very spiritual, very emotionally charged. But I said in that reading, and this is what the comment reminded me of, that I had said that you received something as well, that this was actually two-sided. It wasn't just you transferring something to the other person, but there was actually something that you received here as well, a kind of really profound spiritual activation. The thing about this activation, and by the way, just to kind of bring this full circle to the comment, the commenter was asking what we received, like the collective that was resonating with that reading, what they received from the other person, like what the gift was on their end, because I do feel this was, I'm hearing a faded exchange of some kind. So I know we're already kind of talking in riddles here, as quantum level language often can come through in this sort of symbolic riddle-like form, but I promise I'm going to do my best to really deep dive channel into this, to kind of describe this in physical human words the best that I can, and to hopefully bring through some specifics for you as well. So what you received from this person was a spiritual activation, but I'm getting that I'm hearing it wasn't a pretty one, meaning it wasn't simple or clean, easy on the surface. This spiritual activation feels more like a mini dark night of the soul, or maybe like a full-blown one for some of you. This feels like something very raw, very intense. Yes, it's activating something within you, which is, I'm hearing it's actually in some sense like shifted the trajectory of your life, but that you may not fully know that consciously yet, or you may not fully realize that yet. So wow, very interesting message coming through there. It shifted your life trajectory in some way, and we will channel into that more. But I feel that this was by no means easy. This was raw. It was messy. I'm also getting that it's been so emotional for you, not just when it happened, but also in the time since. Because what I'm getting is that, and in the first reading, I talked about how you made this person feel so seen, so deeply understood, like they were tapping into an energy that was so core to them, and yet so different from everyone and everything around them. And What I'm seeing now in my mind's eye is someone who is looking around their environment, but it's like their expression is completely emotionless. It's like their eyes are totally cold. And it's almost like what I'm getting this like clairvoyant glimpse into is how this person is feeling without you. Like they're looking around their world and they're feeling as though nothing is lighting them up. I'm hearing nothing feels as real to them as you did, but at the same time, you seemed almost supernatural, which I know seems a little bit like a paradox. That theme of there being paradoxes seems to be coming up a lot as well. Like there are a lot of paradoxes within you, within this connection. I'm hearing so close, but so far. Maybe that's one of the paradoxes. Knowing everything about each other, but being strangers. Maybe like to some extent, you feel like this person is a stranger, and yet on some other level, you feel like you know everything about them, and it's the same for them. And I'm hearing it would make you feel like you were actually just crazy, except that information that you feel like you know about this person is getting confirmed to you, and vice versa. I'm getting that you're very psychically attuned to each other as well. So I'm hearing knowing what the other is going to be like before you met them. This is someone where prior to actually speaking to them and meeting them, even just seeing them, you received almost like an instant download of this person's soul essence. Like you knew how they were going to be. You knew how they were going to speak. You knew what their sense of humor was going to be like. And you didn't even really know how you knew. But again, this would have made you feel like you were going crazy, except they confirmed it to you because that is how this person ended up being, just like how you knew that they would be. And I'm getting that that was very mutual, that it was the same way for them with you, that on some level, they felt like they knew you. And I'm hearing couldn't look away. Maybe this is literal, like they found themselves unable to look away from you, or maybe you felt this way around them. But I want to channel more into the gift that this person gave you. So what is the gift that this person transferred to you? What was this spiritual activation that is or has altered the trajectory of your life? Okay, we have split energy, offer, compromise. Let's get another card here. I'm still reading into this energy. Denial. You know what? I feel that this is going to be so specific, but for some of you listening, I get the sense that this person awoke some kind of fire within you. They seem to reveal to you that something more existed for you in some sense, something more that maybe you had always sensed, but there'd been a part of you kind of in denial about, like wondering if you can really feel this way or if this really exists. Now I'm getting this as very mutual because it's been the same for them. I'm hearing two seekers, like you're both seekers, or you were both seeking a deeper level of connectedness with another person, or you were both seeking for something and you found an answer through each other, like a confirmation that what you were seeking actually does exist, that you haven't been off track to feel like it would be settling for less to stop seeking for this thing. Now, this could be in your personal life when it comes to your personal dreams, your goals. This also could be in any area of your life or in your love life, because I'm getting that if this is romantic with this person, which again, it doesn't have to be, but if it's a romantic situation, then they reveal to you that things you've been deeply desiring in love, even things maybe you hadn't had the words to describe, actually do exist. because they embody some of these traits and qualities, or they brought those things out within you. I'm hearing mutual fire and passion. You and this person have a mutual fire, a mutual spark within you. And I'm getting that when you saw this in them, you recognized it and acknowledged it within yourself as well. And that recognition internally is allowing that spark to grow. So I'm also picking up that everything you admire about this other person is actually speaking to a quality within yourself, whether it's something that maybe there's a quality or a talent or something you've buried that hasn't been expressed, and you're seeing this other person express it, and it's therefore bringing through that quality, bringing up that quality within you. For others of you, it may be that you're already embodying some of these qualities, and seeing them in this other person is allowing you to fully recognize how beautiful those qualities are within yourself. For some reason, I'm just seeing someone like nodding and smiling, like silently agreeing with someone who is speaking something that only the two of them really understand. I don't know if I'm speaking to something specific that happened in your interactions with this person or like in a group setting. This feels very, very hyper specific, but I'm hearing secret language. I feel like there's a secret language between the two of you that you both exclusively understand. I'm hearing a conversation beneath the conversation. I'm seeing this especially in like a public space, a crowd, or a group setting. It's almost like there's this underlying conversation happening between your souls that's happening under the surface of whatever larger conversation seems to be going on consciously or in the group. Again, like if you've been in a group setting with this person. I'm also just getting that there's like this natural bond of understanding. So with split energy, I just get the sense that for someone listening, you had, prior to meeting this person, been splitting your energy in some way, mentally or internally. There'd been maybe two things that you were kind of deciding between, or two pathways, or two parts of yourself. Or maybe you thought you weren't sure if you should just settle or compromise on something. And there was a part of you that wanted to, because it seemed safer somehow or easier. Or maybe you started wondering if you were delusional for still believing in this other thing, or still having this other aspect of yourself or something that you desired. But I feel like one gift this person gave you is an inability to compromise on what you really desire. Because now it's like whether it's something you saw in them, something they brought out in you, or just some way that they activated a purpose or a dream or a goal or a trait within you. It's whatever that is. I feel like it revealed to you that what you desire really does exist. And therefore, from this point on, you're never really going to be able to consider compromising on whatever that is. And that's actually a beautiful gift, because this is shifting the trajectory of your life. Your energy is no longer split. Even if you're still figuring out how you're going to move forward, I feel like somehow connecting with this person shifted you into a state of wholeness, of decisiveness on some kind of a pathway or some part of yourself that you want to express, or some quality in love that you now know exists for you that you're not going to be able to compromise on, whether it comes through this person or someone else, just depending on, of course, your personal soul desires, how you desire this to move forward. So I'm going to reshuffle the cards here. And I'm not really sure what's going to come through. I'm going to leave it open to kind of whatever your intentions are listening to this reading, whether we keep talking about this right now or channeling into something different. We'll see what comes through. Okay, so we may circle back to this, but because I feel many of you do want to hear more on this, but someone's guides want to come through, and this download has been popping up the last few days, This is actually regarding being cautious when it comes to people who are I'm trying to find the words to describe this, but we'll start by saying kind of loosely that there are people trying to ride on your coattails into this higher timeline that you've earned spiritually, but that they haven't yet earned spiritually. And when I say earned, of course, I don't mean this in any kind of like a conditional or like restrictive sense. When I use that word, what I mean is there is a certain level of deep self-awareness, a knowingness of oneself that is required to hold consistently the kind of vibration needed to align with the kind of timeline that you are aligned with. And you've had to go through, I feel like you've had to go through that full like life cycle, that full cycle of feeling like you were in more of an unconscious state. And then I'm hearing having those unconscious patterns like shoved in your face. I feel like for many of you, I'm speaking to something that may have happened years or decades ago at the beginning of your spiritual journey, possibly. But I feel like you went through needing to almost like forcibly face yourself in the mirror and become deeply conscious of who you are. And in many cases, this actually required the total stripping back of everything you thought you were. And this was not an easy process. This came with a lot of pain, spiritually, emotionally, in so many ways. But it was the pain of losing who you were never meant to be, so you could finally reveal to yourself and the world who you've always actually been beneath all of that. And that was your initiation. And for many of you, of course, this process is never linear. This could have taken months, years, even decades to get to where you are now. And of course, we're never done growing. We're never done evolving. We're never done discovering ourselves. But what I mean is you've done that deep, raw, difficult inner work and become someone who's very conscious, but I'm also getting very psychically or spiritually in tune. You're very attuned to energy. And there's been a lot coming up about how you operate according to your intuition, according to energy, according to frequency. And your path lately, I feel, has really been about learning how to flow with the energy of your life without resisting it, learning how to not only hear, but also to trust your intuition in the moment and to move forward intuitively. But the thing is, most people do not live that way. They're operating on a much more surface level, and they've mostly blocked out that intuitive voice within themselves. They haven't gone through the same kind of spiritual initiation. And the sense I'm getting is that you've been opening up more to the world, and in doing so, and this is a beautiful thing as well, because your voice is meant to be heard, your frequency is meant to be felt, and your presence can actually be so activating to others who are earlier in that spiritual journey. But the thing I'm picking up on is there is something to be aware of, which is I'm getting that as you are going about connecting with these people and energies, which most likely you're feeling very guided to do in a beautiful way. Your intuition is leading you into these interactions because you're meant to play some kind of role in their spiritual journey. But what I'm getting is that you have certain people who want either a certain level of access to you or to kind of, again, ride on your coattails into this higher timeline with you when they themselves haven't done the inner work, when they haven't really truly achieved the level of consciousness and the ability to hold a consistent high vibration within themselves that can actually keep them personally connected to that timeline. So it's almost like the sense you'll get is like these energies cling on to you. They cling on to you as a person in kind of like a codependent way because they haven't learned how to achieve your frequency within themselves. So it's kind of like they're hoping to benefit from that frequency by clinging on to you without needing to introspect, or actually it's like by bypassing that work within themselves. And I'm not saying this in any kind of a negative or villainizing way, because I feel that most people do this unconsciously. But the reason it's something to be aware of is because I feel that it's almost like you've been elevated or promoted into the position of like a master or a teacher spiritually. And when I say that, I don't mean it in any kind of an egotistical way, but I know if you're someone who resonates with this, you won't take it in that way, because you also embody a kind of humility. That's another beautiful paradox about you is, yes, you've become very spiritually wise. You've become very intuitive, very psychically connected, very attuned to yourself. You have that kind of spiritual empowerment about you, but you're also very humble and grounded as well. But what I'm picking up is sometimes people take advantage of that humility, whether they're doing that consciously or unconsciously, because they may try to almost like reverse roles with you, where they are coming into your life and like trying to teach you something or advise you on something that you've already mastered, that you've already graduated from internally. I'm hearing know your qualifications. And in many cases, I feel like we're talking about those soul qualifications, things that regardless of whether or not you've trained for them in literal terms, like whether you have a certificate or a degree or whatever, you have the soul qualifications. You've gone through the training spiritually and energetically to be kind of like an expert at what you're doing or what you're creating or in this space. And I feel like you're someone who, it's almost like you're still fully realizing just how much of an expert you've become. I feel like this is almost like just such a powerful shift in roles for you that it may feel a little strange at first, where you're going to be entering this phase where people are looking to you for expertise, for guidance, for advice, rather than the other way around. And at the same time, you're going to have people who are taking your humility for weakness and maybe inserting themselves into your reality, or trying to I'm hearing like to shift you off course from where your intuition is leading you by kind of insinuating that they somehow know better for you, or that they somehow have a kind of expertise that you need or that you don't have. And what I'm really picking up is this message around being confident in what your intuition is speaking to you, because I'm hearing your path isn't going to look like anything that's ever been done before. And that's why it's so essential to listen to your intuition here, because that is your only compass on this pathway. Not your logic, not your reason, not your conscious mind, not anyone around you, even the greatest expert in whatever field you're involved with can't guide you along your unique path the way that you can, the way your intuition can, the way your higher self can. And this is because this is a pathway that's never been forged before. In fact, I feel as though you're actually showing people a new way of showing up in a space, or a new way of doing something. So you're going to have, I'm hearing long-standing experts or people who are more established in physical terms in your space, who may actually attempt to insert themselves in what you're doing, or to tell you that you have to do it differently. I'm hearing industry standard, like they may be telling you this isn't industry standard, this isn't what people are looking for, or you're not really doing it by the book. But what they don't understand is you're operating according to a higher standard. You're being guided by your intuition. You're carving out pathways that have never been carved out before, but you are the trendsetter in this case. It's like the first person to do something in fashion, or to like wear a certain outfit that people think looks crazy, but then it becomes a worldwide trend that catches on everywhere. Whether you're involved in the fashion industry or not, I feel like that's the kind of spirit that you are. You are the trendsetter. You are the first one out. You're the one creating the model, creating the path that others are going to follow. So the industry standard doesn't really apply to you. What people have done before doesn't really apply to you. And that is what I feel the message of caution is, to be cautious of people who try to insert themselves into your reality, regardless of what their accolades or physical accomplishments may be, to not even let these so-called experts to veer you off course from what your intuition is telling you. And of course, the secondary message here, which we talked about earlier, is about these individuals who may be sensing that you've risen to a higher timeline, or that you are living in this really magical reality. And I'm hearing, instead of wanting to know how you got here or how you've become the person that you are, or about your journey, they kind of take all of that for granted and want to just kind of like benefit in a codependent way from whatever you've done or from whatever you've created. And I'm getting something about how it can be tempting when you're someone who is very compassionate to want to carve out an artificial space in your life for people who aren't really reciprocating with you, just because you don't want them to feel left out, or you want to kind of honor whatever they want here because you do have a really kind, compassionate heart. But I am just getting a message about how at this phase of your spiritual journey, it's really important to seek out and to allow yourself to be surrounded by, it's really an act of self-love, to allow yourself to be surrounded by people who actually have the ability to reciprocate with you truly, emotionally, energetically, to have a balanced connection with you, not to kind of carve out a space artificially for someone that you know isn't really reciprocating to you or with you, and who doesn't really have an interest in doing that. I know this is kind of like a strange message that may apply to many areas of your life, but I hope that that came through clearly there for whoever needed to hear it. So let me see if I can channel anything else for you regarding this, or whatever else wants to come through. Okay, so we have the storm warning card. I feel that this is someone connected to you. And for many of you, this is that person we were talking about at the beginning, that I'm hearing they're feeling in mental chaos. I'm hearing everything external feels still or feels the same. But that's exactly how I'm realizing that you were so different. This really does feel like the person that came out at the beginning of the reading, because I feel like this person is saying, everything that I went back to, or everything in my life, is exactly the same on a physical level. And yet it now is creating all of this mental chaos for me, because I'm realizing just how different you always were and are from everything else around me. And that contrast is bringing in this mental conflict. I'm getting really the sense of someone who didn't even know that they were in the middle of a karmic contract until they met you. With the contract card, it's like they thought this was just normal. They thought this was just life. Or if this is a romantic karmic contract, they thought this is just how all relationships are. Or this is just how life feels. It's always heavy. It's always dense. It's always chaotic. Or a bit unfulfilling, but everyone settles for that. I feel like that's what this person was telling themselves. But they meet you, someone who is the complete antithesis to settling in every sense. Someone who's constantly evolving and growing. But also, again, if this is romantic, you activated that sense of limitlessness within them. You activated that realization with them that they themselves have that ability to grow and evolve in this unlimited way. I'm hearing you showed them more of their own potential somehow, whether it was their potential in life, in career, in love, their potential to love. If this is romantic, like they didn't know they had feelings this deep within them, is what I'm picking up here, until they felt those feelings for you. And they're trying to make sense of it all, is what's coming up here. But it's creating a lot of mental chaos. So what else can I channel for this person right now? The Garden and the Gate. So they're looking at you as a bit guarded. Maybe you did pull back, because as I channeled in the previous reading, if that reading resonated for you, the title of that reading was that the ball is in their court and they know it. And so after that transference happened that we talked about, where you activated each other in some kind of way, you most likely did feel guided to pull back, even though it was very emotional for you. And I feel many of those emotions may still be coming up for you here. Can I get any more information? I'm hearing you're on the other side of a heartbreak. I don't know if that means you've gone through a heartbreak recently, but I feel in many cases this means this person is going to have to break someone else's heart or risk breaking their own heart in order to reach you, in order to get to you. I feel in many cases they may feel like they're disappointing someone else or letting someone else down, or maybe romantically breaking someone else's heart. It's like some heartbreak seems to be necessary for them to reach you in some way. This is someone who I'm hearing they're so in their head. They're giving you so much thought at this time, not just you, but I feel like I'm hearing my head is a series of flashbacks. Interesting. So if you have a past with this person, they feel as though in their mind, it's just like a series of flashbacks to you. And I'm getting as well that if this is happening, it's very likely that you yourself are catching these like random mental glimpses of this person, like you're feeling some of those flashbacks. I know this sounds really strange, but if you've noticed that you're just going about your day and maybe not even thinking about this person, and then all of a sudden in a split second, nothing even reminds you of them externally, but it's like your brain starts replaying a scene with them, like a moment with them, maybe one that you hadn't even really registered at the time or hadn't really thought about. That's a very strong sign, especially with the energy I'm picking up on here, that this person is actually in that moment having that flashback about you, and it's being transferred to you because, again, as we said earlier, there's a very strong psychic link between the two of you. So I can already tell where we're going to start the extended reading, because I want to dive more into this psychic link between the both of you, and we'll just see where the extended reading goes from there. So if you do want to keep this energy going and you want to hear more messages on this in the extended channeling, I will leave a link to it underneath this video in the pinned comment and also in the description box as well. But I am going to leave this first reading here. So I know we've been channeling a lot into this specific person the last few readings for many of you. I also feel, though, that there's a reason for this. I feel like it's been impacting many of you to a really extreme degree. And I know these messages may not be for everyone, but I feel they're really important for whoever does need to hear them. So I do hope this reading reached you if it's for you. And as always, of course, if you feel guided to share any part of your soul, your story, your thoughts in the comments section, I do often read through the comments. I love seeing all of your thoughts and all of your stories. And really, that sense of community here on YouTube is just, to me, one of the most beautiful aspects of what we're doing and creating here. So thank you for being part of this space on YouTube. And if I do resonate for you and you're not subscribed yet, of course, I would love to have you here if you'd like to subscribe as well. And you can also follow my Instagram at Magnetize Yourself. But otherwise, I'm going to leave things here. Again, the extended is below. And I just love all of you so much. And I will connect with you here again in the next video.